There comes a moment in every life when the weight of the situation becomes unbearable. You've tried everything. You've reached out for help, strategized, adjusted, and still nothing seems to move. You begin to wonder, does God even see me? Is he listening? The answer is simple yet powerful. Yes, he sees. Yes, he listens. And yes, he will fix your situation, if you trust him. But what does it mean to truly trust God? Trust is not a passive emotion. It is not a feeling that comes and goes based on the temperature of our circumstances. Trust is a deliberate choice, a decision to believe what God says even when everything around you suggests otherwise. It is an anchor when the waves rise. It is a compass when direction is lost. Trust in God is not just spiritual theory. It is the foundation of your survival when life breaks down. In Scripture, we see over and over again how trust opened the door for miracles. The walls of Jericho didn't fall because of weapons. They fell because of obedience and trust. The Red Sea didn't part because Moses had power it parted, because God honors those who trust in him. God is not limited by the circumstances you face. He is not intimidated by your debt, your diagnosis, your broken marriage, or your hidden pain. But he waits, not because he is cruel, but because he is teaching you how to lean on him completely. Let's be honest, our natural instinct is to fix things ourselves. We are problem solvers by nature, but the more we try to take control, the more we exhaust our strength. The moment you finally say, "Lord, I surrender," I give up trying to fix what I can't, is the moment heaven responds. God does not need your ability, he needs your availability. Your trust is the invitation for him to act. Now understand this, God's way of fixing things is different from ours. We want instant relief. He wants lasting change. We want comfort. He wants character. We want the pain to stop. He wants the purpose to be fulfilled. God doesn't always remove the storm, but he will strengthen you in it. He may not always change the situation immediately, but he will change you through it. That is the miracle many never see, how God transforms the heart while healing the wound. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Was it during success, or was it during struggle? Most of us grow not in the sunshine, but in the storm. It is in the darkness that trust shines the brightest. It is in the trial that our faith is refined. Trusting God doesn't mean the situation will be easy. It means you believe it will be worth it. You see, God knows what you don't. He sees tomorrow when you can only see today. He sees the entire canvas while you only see a corner. His delay is not his denial. Sometimes the waiting is the working. You may not see him moving, but he's already aligning people, circumstances, and resources. He's preparing the solution before you even finish your prayer, but he's waiting to see, will you trust him in the silence? Trust means you worship before the answer. It means you praise even when the problem still exists. It means you keep going when nothing makes sense. And that, my friend, is the kind of faith that pleases God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't save you to abandon you. He didn't speak promises over your life for them to fail. God is not a man that he should lie. If he said it, he will do it. But your trust is the bridge between the promise and the provision. There are people right now reading these words who are at a breaking point. You're tired, you're confused, you're angry, you've prayed and waited, you've cried and believed, and still nothing seems to move. I want to tell you, don't give up now. You're closer than you think. The breakthrough doesn't always come with noise. It often comes in quiet faith, in silent endurance, in trust that refuses to quit. God is going to fix it, not by your timeline, but by his. Not the way you imagined, but better than you imagined. He will restore what was lost. He will bring healing where there was damage. He will bring joy where there was mourning. But it begins with trust. So today, don't harden your heart. Don't let fear steal your peace. Don't let the enemy convince you it's over. If God is in it, it's not over. Trust Him, not because you understand, but because He is worthy. Trust Him, not because it's easy, but because He is faithful. Trust Him and watch how He takes what was meant for evil and turns it for good, because that's who He is, and He will fix your situation. When your situation seems impossible, when every door has closed, and when logic fails to offer a solution, that is where faith begins. Faith is not anchored in what we can calculate or reason through. It is not dependent on visible evidence or human assurances. Faith begins where logic ends, because faith reaches beyond what the eyes can see and the mind can grasp. In those moments where everything seems hopeless, God steps in and specializes in doing what no man can do. True faith does not wait for proof before believing. It believes because God has promised, and His word is more certain than anything this world can offer. God does not ask you to understand how He will work. He asks you to trust that He will. Trust is the foundation on which God builds His miracles in your life. When you choose to trust Him in the middle of confusion, you are declaring that His promises are greater than your problems. Often, we try to solve our situations with our own strength, using our own wisdom, and when that fails, we feel defeated. But God allows those moments so that we will come to the end of ourselves and look up to Him. When logic ends, when our efforts have been exhausted, that is when God begins to move. His power is made perfect in our weakness. What looks like the end of the road to us is often the beginning of God's divine intervention. He waits for us to surrender, not because He wants to see us struggle, but because He wants us to understand that He alone is our source and strength. When we stop striving and start trusting, we make room for God to do what only He can do. His solutions are far beyond anything we could plan or imagine. Many people misunderstand faith. They think faith is a feeling, something that comes when all is going well. But real faith is proven in the fire of trial. Real faith holds on when the storm rages and the night seems endless. Real faith looks at the impossible and still believes that God is able. When you trust God, you are declaring that no matter how dark the situation, no matter how long the wait, no matter how heavy the burden, God's promise will stand. You are declaring that what He has spoken over your life will come to pass. That is the kind of faith that pleases Him. That is the kind of faith that invites His hand to move. God does not work on our timetable. His ways are higher than ours, and His timing is perfect. Sometimes what we see as a delay is actually God's preparation. He is aligning circumstances, shaping our character, and preparing the blessing so that when it comes, it will not harm us but bless us. Trusting God means resting in His timing, knowing that He is never late. He is not slow as some consider slowness. He is patient, kind, and intentional. Every second of waiting has a purpose. When you trust God, you do not rush Him. You do not complain in the waiting. You worship in the waiting. You thank Him in advance for what He is about to do. That is the power of faith. It praises before the walls fall. It rejoices before the chains are broken. It celebrates before the victory is seen. Some of you are facing situations today that seem too big, too painful, too complicated to fix. You have prayed, you have cried, you have tried everything, and you wonder if God has forgotten you. Let me remind you, God has not forgotten you. He sees you. He hears every prayer, every sigh, every tear that falls. And He is working even when you cannot see it. Trust does not require sight. Trust means you walk by faith, believing that God is making a way where there seems to be no way. He has not abandoned you. He is with you, closer than your breath, and he is fighting for you. The battle is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. Your role is not to figure out the solution. Your role is to trust him and obey what he asks of you. God is not interested in temporary fixes. He is not looking to put a bandage on your situation. He wants to bring lasting change, deep healing, true transformation. That is why he allows the process. That is why he allows the waiting, because in the waiting he is changing you. He is strengthening your faith, teaching you endurance, shaping your character so that you will be ready for the blessing he has prepared. When God fixes a situation, he doesn't just change the circumstances. He changes us. He molds us into people who reflect his glory, who carry his presence, who walk in his power. And when the breakthrough comes, it will not just be an answer to prayer, it will be a testimony of his faithfulness. The enemy wants you to doubt. He wants you to give up. He whispers lies that say, "It's over. God doesn't care. Your prayers don't matter." But the truth is, God is working right now. Every prayer you have prayed is before him. Every act of faith, every tear, every moment of trust. It all matters. Nothing is wasted in God's hands. So keep trusting, keep believing, keep holding on, because God is not finished. The story is not over. And he will fix your situation in his perfect way and in his perfect time. When you look back, you will see his fingerprints all over your life, and you will say, "It was worth it. God was faithful." Faith begins where logic ends. So today, make the decision to trust God fully, not because you see the answer, but because you know who he is, not because you understand his plan, but because you believe in his goodness. Trust him and watch how he turns your situation around for his glory and your good. Just because God hasn't answered yet doesn't mean he won't. So often we confuse God's silence with his absence, but the truth is, his delay is not his denial. When we pray, when we cry out in desperation, when we plead for a breakthrough and see no immediate change, it is easy to think that God has turned his face from us, but that is not true. God hears every prayer, and he holds every tear. The waiting period is not wasted time. There is purpose in the process. God is doing something far greater than what we can see or understand in the moment. His timing is perfect, and he is never late. What feels like a delay to us is often a part of his greater design, a preparation for something beyond what we could ever imagine. It is in the waiting that faith is refined. When the answer does not come right away, our hearts are tested. Do we trust God only when he answers quickly? Do we believe only when we see results? Or can we trust him in the silence when it seems nothing is happening? Faith that endures is faith that pleases God. He is not interested in quick fixes or surface solutions. He is shaping something deeper, something eternal, something that will last beyond this moment of crisis. When God delays, it is not because he has forgotten you. It is because he loves you too much to give you less than his best. His delay means he is preparing the blessing, preparing you and preparing the circumstances so that when the answer comes, it will be right, it will be full, and it will bring him glory. So many people in Scripture experienced this divine delay. Think of Abraham waiting for the promised son. Year after year passed, and still there was no child, yet God had not forgotten. At the appointed time, the promise was fulfilled, and Isaac was born. Think of Joseph sitting in prison, forgotten by those he helped. But God had a plan, and in his perfect timing, Joseph was raised up to a place of great authority. Delay is not denial. It is God's way of aligning everything perfectly so that his will is done, not just in part, but in full. Our impatience does not move God's hand. Our faith, our trust, our surrender, that is what he responds to. He works according to his wisdom, not our timetable, because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his ways higher than our ways. In the delay, God is working on your behalf in ways you cannot see. He is moving people into place, changing hearts, opening doors, closing others. He is protecting you from things you do not know. Sometimes the very thing we think we need right now would harm us if God gave it too soon. Sometimes the blessing requires more preparation, more maturity, more growth. And so he waits, not because he is withholding good, but because he is ensuring that when the blessing comes, it will not be a burden, but a gift. In the waiting, God draws us closer to himself. We learn to lean on him, to seek him, to listen for his voice. We learn that our hope is not in the gift, but in the giver. The longer we wait, the more precious the answer becomes, because we recognize it as the work of his hand alone. God's timing is always right. When he moves, it will be at the perfect moment. We may not see it now, but one day we will look back and understand why he waited. We will see how he was weaving together a plan that was greater than ours. We will see how he was protecting us, teaching us, growing us. We will see how the delay was an act of mercy, not punishment. So do not lose heart. Do not give up in the waiting. Do not listen to the lies that say God has forgotten you. The same God who promised is faithful to fulfill. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. His word does not return void. His promises do not fail. His delay is not his denial. It is his preparation for something greater. When you feel tempted to doubt, remember who God is. Remember his faithfulness in the past. Remember how he has brought you through before. The same God who parted the sea, who brought water from the rock, who fed thousands with a few loaves. He is the one who holds your future. He is working even now. He is not slow as some consider slowness. He is patient, not wanting you to miss the fullness of what he has for you. Trust him in the waiting. Trust him in the silence. Trust him when it seems nothing is happening. Because at the right time, in the right way, God will answer. And when he does, it will be beyond what you imagined, beyond what you hoped, beyond what you dreamed. His delay is not his denial. It is his love, his wisdom, his perfect plan unfolding in your life. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep waiting on the Lord, because those who wait on him will never be put to shame. God is not interested in offering us quick fixes that merely cover up the issues we face on the surface. His purpose goes far deeper than that. When we come before him with our broken situations, our problems, our heartaches, and our disappointments, he does not simply patch them up so that we can continue on as we were before. Instead, he looks beneath the surface, beneath the symptoms, to the root of the matter. He sees what we cannot see. He knows where the true healing needs to happen. While we may be asking God to remove the pain, to change our circumstances, to open a door or make a way, God is working to transform our hearts, our character, and our faith. He knows that if he simply removed the difficulty without addressing what lies beneath, the problem would return, or something even greater would take its place. God is not interested in temporary relief. He is committed to lasting change. He is committed to building something strong and unshakable within us. That is why he allows us to walk through seasons of struggle, not to harm us, but to heal us in the deepest places. When a tree is sick, cutting off a few branches will not restore it. The roots must be examined. The source of the sickness must be dealt with. The same is true in our lives. We often pray for God to take away the difficult boss, to solve the financial crisis, to heal the broken relationship, to remove the anxiety or fear. And while these prayers are good, and God does care about every detail of our lives, he knows that real transformation happens not by changing what is around us, but by changing what is within us. He may not always remove the difficult boss, but he will teach us patience, humility, and strength. He may not immediately solve the financial crisis, but he will grow our faith and our trust in his provision. He may not instantly heal the relationship, but he will shape our hearts to forgive, to love, and to show grace. He may not take away the fear all at once, but he will teach us to rely on his peace that surpasses understanding. God's work is thorough. He does not leave anything unfinished. He will not stop working until the root is healed, until the foundation is strong, until our lives reflect his glory. There is a reason why some answers take longer than we expect. There is a reason why some prayers seem to go unanswered for a season. It is because God is more interested in building your character than in providing comfort. He is more interested in preparing you for the future than in simply making today easier. The trials you face are not signs that God has abandoned you. They are opportunities for him to do a deeper work in you. The brokenness you feel is not a punishment. It is the soil in which God plants seeds of new life, new strength, new hope. And when the work is done, when he has rebuilt what was broken, you will stand stronger than before. You will be able to withstand the storms of life, not because the storms have stopped coming, but because God has established you on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Consider how a builder lays a foundation for a house. The foundation must go deep into the ground. It must be solid, able to bear the weight of what will be built on top. If the builder tries to save time by laying a shallow foundation, the house may go up quickly, but it will not last. The first strong wind or flood will bring it down. God is the master builder of your life. He will not rush the process. He will not build quickly just to satisfy our desire for immediate change. He will dig deep. He will remove what does not belong. He will strengthen what is weak. And when he is finished, your life will be able to bear the weight of his calling, his blessing, and his purpose. The work may take time, and it may be painful at times, but it is good. It is necessary. It is his love in action. Sometimes we become frustrated because we cannot see what God is doing beneath the surface. We wonder why the situation has not changed, why the pain continues, why the doors remain closed. But if we could see with spiritual eyes, we would see that God is working in ways that go far beyond what we are asking. He is preparing us for something greater. He is protecting us from unseen dangers. He is writing a story that will testify of his faithfulness for generations to come. And when we trust him in the process, when we allow him to do the deep work, we will come out of the trial not bitter, but better, not broken, but whole, not empty, but filled with his Spirit and his power. So when you pray, do not just ask God to fix what is on the surface. Invite him to go deeper. Ask him to heal what is hidden, to strengthen what is weak, to remove what hinders your walk with him. Trust that he knows what you need even more than you do. Trust that his work in your life is good, even when it is hard. Trust that when he is finished, you will be a vessel fit for his purpose, a light that shines brightly in the darkness, a testimony of his grace and his power. God does not offer quick fixes. He offers complete transformation, and when you allow him to work in your life, you will discover that what he builds is beautiful, unshakable, and eternal. The key is to surrender. When we stop trying to control everything and trust God fully, that's when he steps in and begins to work in ways we never imagined. Many of us live our lives clinging tightly to the idea that we can manage, fix, or control our circumstances through our own strength, wisdom, or plans. We work tirelessly, worry endlessly, and often exhaust ourselves trying to solve problems that are simply beyond our ability to fix. But God never intended for us to bear these burdens alone. He calls us to lay them down at his feet. He calls us to trust that he, in his infinite wisdom and love, knows exactly what we need and exactly how to bring it about in His perfect timing. When we finally reach the point where we are willing to let go of our own efforts and truly surrender, we make room for God to move. We open our hearts and our lives to His divine intervention. Surrender is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of faith. It is an act of courage to say, "Lord, I trust you more than I trust myself. I believe that your plan is greater than mine, and I place everything into your hands." In that moment of surrender, something powerful happens. Our anxiety begins to lift. The weight of the struggle starts to feel lighter because we are no longer carrying it alone. God begins to work in ways we could not see before. Sometimes we are so busy trying to solve things on our own that we miss the gentle voice of God leading us. But when we surrender, our spiritual ears are opened. We begin to hear His guidance more clearly. We become more sensitive to His leading, and we find peace even in the middle of the storm. Surrender allows us to move from striving to resting, from fear to faith, from confusion to clarity. It is in this place of trust that breakthroughs happen, not because we made them happen, but because God moves in response to our faith. When we look through Scripture, we see this truth again and again. The walls of Jericho fell not because the people of Israel had a brilliant military plan, but because they obeyed God's unusual instruction to march and shout, trusting that He would deliver the city into their hands. Gideon's tiny army defeated the vast forces of the enemy not because of their strength, but because they trusted God's plan even when it didn't make sense. The Red Sea parted not because Moses had the power, but because he trusted God enough to lift his staff in obedience. Breakthroughs come when we surrender and trust. They come when we choose to stop leaning on our own understanding and start depending fully on God's direction and provision. It is a lesson that can be hard to learn because it goes against our natural desire to control and to see immediate results. But once we taste the freedom and power that come from surrendering to God, we begin to long for it. We begin to desire His will above our own, His timing above ours, His way above the way we imagined. And here is the beautiful thing about surrender. It does not mean that we stop acting or that we sit back and do nothing. It means that everything we do flows from a heart of trust. We still work, we still make decisions, we still take steps of faith, but we do so with the peace of knowing that God is in control. We no longer act out of fear or desperation. We act out of confidence in His promises. We stop trying to force things to happen and instead cooperate with what God is already doing. We begin to see His hand in places we missed before. We begin to notice doors opening that we could not have opened on our own. We see relationships healed, needs met, opportunities arise, all because we trusted Him enough to surrender. Surrender is not a one-time decision. It is a daily choice. Every morning we wake up and decide whether we will carry our burdens or place them in God's hands. Every situation we face offers us the chance to trust or to try to control. And the more we choose to trust, the more we will see God's faithfulness. We will see how He takes what was broken and makes it whole. We will see how He turns what was meant for harm into something good. We will see how He brings beauty out of ashes and hope out of despair. The greatest breakthroughs often come not when we do more, but when we surrender more, when we stop fighting for our way and start trusting His way. And in that surrender, we discover that God is not only able to fix our situation, He is able to transform us through it. Our hearts are changed, our faith is deepened, our testimony becomes stronger. And when the breakthrough comes, we will know without a doubt that it was the Lord who did it, and we will give Him all the glory. So if you are weary, if you are burdened, if you are at the end of your strength, let this be the moment you choose to surrender. Let this be the moment you place it all into God's hands, your fears, your plans, your hopes, your struggles. Trust that He sees the end from the beginning. Trust that He loves you and is working all things for your good. And as you surrender, watch how he begins to move in ways beyond anything you could ask or imagine. That is the power of trusting God fully. That is where true breakthrough begins.